Hello, my name is Tom Kleik. I'm the National Fleet Account Manager for Horton, and today we are going to show you how to rebuild a DM Advantage fan drive, whether it be an on-off or a two-speed, with our new clutch pack kit. So the first thing we want to do is obviously take the fan drive off the truck, get it on the bench, and then we're going to remove the fan mounting friction disc. To do that, I have a tool that Horton offers. You can buy this independently or with a larger tool kit. Or if you don't have this, you can utilize a pry bar, but it's much easier to use this tool. So there's two different sides to it. One is for the 2.56 inch diameter pilot. The other is for the 5-inch pilot. So today we've got a 2.56 and we're going to be rebuilding an on-off fan drive. And then in the kit that you get, here's the clutch pack kit. So this is the on-off kit. It comes with all the seals and things that you need. It is a dual pilot, so one kit fits all on-off fan drive applications. This has got the 2.56 that we're going to use for this. But if you had a 5-inch pilot, like on a Kenworth or Peterbilt, you can add the fan mounting ring and add the fan studs later. And then these would just come along for the ride. Okay? So the kits are very similar, whether it's an on-off or a two-speed. But instead of this clutch pack for the on-off, you get a clutch pack for a two-speed instead. So then what we're going to do is we do have some tools in here, special tools that come in the kit. One is our T55 torque spit, and that's for the jack bolt. We'll grab a couple breaker bars here. And now this is a little bit confusing, so I thought I'd explain this. It does say left-hand thread, but that's from the back side. So some people have tried to turn this the wrong way, and then you tighten it, and then it's very difficult to get off. So this is lefty-loosey. You're going to actually be pushing away, okay? And it'll explain that in our instructions as well. It actually shows a picture. So we're going to break this loose initially. Once we get it loose, we can remove our one tool, and we can spin fan mounting disc off. So that one came off there pretty easy, but I've seen some of these where they're very difficult to remove. If that is the case, please refer to my tips video, separate video, that'll help you remove that FMFD, even though you might have stripped out the jack bolt or it's very difficult to remove. Okay, now we're going to remove the fan mounting friction disc. And from this point, we need our cage nut, which comes into the kit. And that could just be hand tightened down there. That's just going to hold the springs tight so they don't release as you're pulling off the liner screws. So then the next step we're going to do is remove the liner screws. And you do get a T27 torque spit in the kit. Make sure that the heads of the screws, they are a torque spit, but sometimes they get full of liner dust or dirt. Make sure you kind of clean them out a little bit or blow them out. And then I recommend using a 3/8 drive ratchet or a 1/2-inch drive if you want, but just something to break it loose mechanically versus putting a gun on it. Sometimes I've seen where somebody takes a pneumatic ratchet or something like that, and they can either strip it out or break off the screw, and then it makes the job a lot more difficult. So I'll go ahead and break all of these loose and remove them all. So once we get all the screws out, the liner will then come off. And then you need to pry up on the spring housing. And that will come off. Now, if you have difficulty prying up or getting the spring housing off, you can apply a little air on the backside. That'll help pop it off of there. I'll make sure you're holding your hand over it if you do that. We're going to remove the old quad seal. This one's pretty clean because it doesn't have a lot of miles on it, but we're going to clean the old grease out of it, and then we're going to take out the snap ring to take out our air cap next. Some safety glasses on, and we're going to remove our snap ring that holds the air cap in there. And there is a little notch on that snap ring, so you can get underneath it with a small screwdriver. You can just walk it right around. And now the best way to get the air cap out of there is use two flathead screwdrivers and pry up on both sides. Okay, that'll remove. So we're going to reuse this air cap, but we're going to replace the seal and the face seal. Next thing we want to do is take out the snap ring for the air cartridge. And since we're not going to reuse the old cartridge, we can grab it with a pair of vice grips. Pull it out of there. If you struggle to get this out of here as well, you can actually put some air to the back. Just hold your finger over it. Make sure that you're holding that, or it'll come flying out of there. So just make sure you're holding it tight. Get the old cartridge out. Okay, and at this point, you want to look in there and make sure there's no dirt or anything. If there is, clean it out. Blow it out from the back side. Make sure it's nice and clean before we start reassembling. So we grab a new air cartridge. I like to put a little grease on the O-rings. And as you're putting it in, be careful this tip, this PEEK material on the tip. You want to try to keep that clean and dry. No grease. And just push it in. Make sure it's seated with a screwdriver. Grab your new snap ring. The snap ring is beveled on one side, flat on the other. It's just really important to get the snap ring seated in there all the way. It could probably go in either way. I like to go bevel up just because it's easier to get in there, and it's easier to ensure that it's snapped in all the way. Okay, but then you go around and just push down, make sure it's all snapped in there good. And then I like to just wipe the tip off with a clean rag a little bit, so know we got it really clean. And then from here, we are ready to put a new O-ring on our air cap. Comes in the kit. On the air cap, we do want to replace the face seal because that's what comes in contact with the new cartridge. So we get one of those in the kit as well. So we're going to remove the old one. Just threads in there. And this should be torqued to 62 inch-pounds. So we recommend that. Typically what I do is snug them up good. That's good enough, but if you have a torque wrench around, it's probably the best practice. Then we're going to grab our O-ring, our new O-ring, put a little bit of O-ring and lube on that. And work it around the outside. Yeah, I can put a little bit more on there. Makes it easier to install. And then I'll take a clean rag again and just wipe that face seal off because that's what comes in contact with that cartridge. You want to make sure it's nice and clean. And then we'll square it up, push it down. And we do provide a new snap ring to hold the air cartridge in, so we'll put that in. It's not directional, so you can put it in either way. And you just walk it in with a screwdriver. And again, make sure it's all the way snapped in the groove, all the way around. Now we want to use a little bit more grease to put things together. We're going to put our quad seal in. And what I like to do is grease the quad seal up pretty good. And then put a little bit of grease where the quad seal goes. All right, and the quad seal is directional. So you're going to have a gap on one side and nothing on the other. The little recess there goes down towards into the clutch because the air will be coming from the back side and you want it to catch underneath that cup and kind of push the seal out. Okay, put the seal in there, make sure it's seated all the way down. And then we're going to take the rest of our grease, put that inside near the quad seal. And then what I like to do on the clutch pack as well is grease the bottom that comes in contact with the quad seal as well. So it just kind of slides on there a lot nicer if you do that. Now try to make sure you don't get any grease, or if you do, just wipe it off where the friction material goes, okay, on both sides. Now we're going to assemble. This is where we made it easy for you. We did a pre-assembled clutch pack assembly, again, which is dual pilot. So this particular one, we're rebuilding a 2.56 pilot fan drive. It's all pre-assembled for you. The holes are lined up so we can get at the liner screws once I do assemble that. But basically you tilt it into place. Make sure it seats down all the way. And then once you get it in there, I like to turn it about 180 degrees. And what that does is seat down the quad seal and kind of moves the grease around in there. And then as you're turning it around, you kind of look and line up the holes. Final, and then we give you new liner screws with the Loctite on it. And you can start putting your liner screws in. Again, T27 comes in the kit. What I like to do is kind of like finger tighten them first. And you're going to do just like you would a wheel. You're going to go back and forth in a star pattern to get them all snug down. And then for the final, again, grab a torque wrench and torque to 80 inch-pounds. Now that we got them all hand tightened in there, we're going to then take our torque wrench and start torquing them down. Again, in that star pattern, back and forth until you get them all done. And the next step would be to apply air and make sure there's no air leaks before you put it back on the truck. And then the other thing, option, like I mentioned, I'll show you again, if you had a 5-inch pilot, like in a Kenworth or Peterbilt, you can install your fan mounting ring at this point. Now that just sits in there loose, so the fan is what holds it on there. And our fan mounting studs, you'd have to put these in and just torque them tight. They have some Loctite on them. And then these would just come along for the ride, right? So again, the 2.56 is for your Freightliners, your Internationals, your Volvo Max, and the 5-inch pilot is for your Kenworths and Peterbilts. This now completes the rebuild of our on-off fan drive with our clutch pack kit. And if you have any further questions, you can call our 1-800 number or you can go to our website at hortonww.com. Thank you.